What's up, Pokey Sluts? My name is Another Soviet, and I have an OU suspect test battle for you guys again today. And please leave a thumbs up if you enjoy these battles. I actually have two battles, so I kind of messed up in there in the intro a little bit. And yeah, once again, the suspect test right now is Aegislash. I don't really have too much of an opinion other than he counters some of the big threats in this ladder, and it frees up the metagame a little bit more, I think. And Aegislash can fit on pretty much every single team, so I think he's a really cool addition. I decided to lead with Lando because I wanted to try and get an HP ice off on the Garchomp because I figured he'd start with that. But as you can see, he decided to go with Starmie, so I think a nice trick on this thing would be very useful, so it can't get a rapid spin off or anything. And then I should be able to make a nice Volt Switch out of here and bring out my Tornadus and get a knockoff on it probably here. Or I could bring out my Aegislash and Shadow Sneak. But I think my Tornadus is a better bet here because I should be faster. I will be faster because I traded him for the specs. And I'm just going to knock off, and he ends up bringing in Gyarados. And it was the leftovers Gyarados, so it's kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure what his Mega is yet. It's obviously not Gyarados, but it could be his Garchomp or his Alakazam, so it's a pretty interesting thing going on here. He's gonna waterfall and be able to take out my Rotom there on the switch in. I'm kind of okay with that. I don't need my Rotom too much. He is pretty useful for dealing with this Gyarados and as well as the Staraptor and the Starmie, but I got a trick off on the Starmie, and the Starmie's almost dead, so that's fine. I'm going to go into my Garchomp now because he is holding the Rocky Helmet, so I'd like to get some Rocky Helmet damage off as well as with the Rough Skin, of course. And I'm just going to SD here because I should be able to live a couple attacks from this Gyarados, and after the Rocky Helmet damage, he will go down there. And this thing, I don't know. I don't really want to stay in against this thing. My Aegislash is a pretty safe switch, but I'd like to bring out my Tornadus because he has Regenerator, so I'm just going to go for a nice knockoff on whatever he decides to bring in, and it will be Starmie, so this will be a dead Starmie. And I should be able to get a nice U-turn on this thing. I probably don't want to stay in. I could try and stay in and go for a Hurricane, but I don't really need to, so I'm just going to U-turn out and break this thing's sash if it has one. And my Landorus is a pretty safe switch here, I think. And he does have the Earth power, so I think I want to go into him, or maybe my Aegislash. But I'm just going to do my Aegislash because I'm sure he's going to get a Sticky Web up anyway. And I should have a free Sword Stance here. He's going to T-Wave my Aegislash, and I get a pair of hacks on the first turn, which does suck. So I'm just going to go for another Sword Stance, but he gets another pair of hacks right after that. So I'm just going to keep clicking Sword Stance, because I can live quite a few Thunders from this thing, and then a Shadow Sneak at +1 should be able to take him out. But I end up going down because I get messed up by pair of hacks, which really sucks. So my Tornadus is pretty safe here, I guess. A Hurricane should definitely take it out, but I don't really want to rely on Hurricane. But this is AV Tornadus, so I could probably take a Volt Switch or whatever he wanted to throw at me. And now he's probably going to bring in his Garchomp. He actually decides to go for Staraptor. That's a little weird. I think I'm just going to Focus Blast and hope it hits, but I'm sure it'll miss. Of course it does. I should switch out and go for a Regenerator here. So I'm just going to U-turn out and get some of the health back on the regeneration, like I said. And my Garchomp is a nice switch here because the Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin damage is going to be very useful on this thing. And I'd like to get Rocks up because there's going to be nothing he can do about that. And if he wants to switch his Staraptor out, it'll really hurt it on the switch back in. So I'm just going to go for a Dragon Claw because it should hurt this Staraptor. And it ends up taking him out. So that's very nice there. And he's going to end up going into his own Garchomp, which I expect to be Mega, and it is. So we go down to a Dragon Claw there, but I get tons of damage off there with a Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin, so I'm not too worried about it. And my Lando can take him out with a nice HP Ice here. And yeah, that's pretty much the match. He's just going to bring in his Alakazam. So my Lando will go down here after he gets off a Rock Slide and almost kills the Alakazam. I'm sure it was Focus Sashed anyway. And yeah, that's the match. I'll see you guys in the next match. I'll bring you on over to that now. Thanks. Please leave a thumbs up. Hey, what's up, Pokesluts? Welcome to the second match of this OU Suspect testing here. And this looks like a pretty fun and interesting match. He does have a couple underused tier characters here. The Crobat in the Fortress, as you can see. As well as the Whimsicott. I believe Whimsicott is UU. Maybe even RU, but I'm not quite sure. It's an interesting match anyway. And it's going to showcase Aegislash at its best, I guess. And show what he's good for. He's definitely good for a late game sweep. And yeah, he's definitely good for that. I'm just going to go for an EQ in case he decided to try and U-turn or something. Because my Garchomp is physical, so I decided to try and stay in. And I'm just going to stay in Sword Stance because this thing is going to do absolutely nothing to me. The Dragonite switch-in is pretty prevalent, but I'm going to go for another EQ anyway. And he actually decides to bring in Whimsicott, and that does a fuck ton to Whimsicott. But I'm not going to be able to stay in and take a Razor Blade or Leaf Blade or something like that. So I'm just going to bring out my Tornadus here, I believe, and try and go for a Hurricane because that'll hit his team pretty well. Or I could go into my Landorus and try and HP Ice, but I'm just going to bring out my Tornadus here and try and get a nice Hurricane off. Possibly a U-turn since I don't really want to stay in with Leech Seed up. And he is going to have the Protect, so hopefully Hurricane does not miss next turn, but I think I just want to U-turn out because fuck this, I'm not going to stay in with Leech Seed and a Toxic up on my Tornadus. He's got Regenerator, so I'm going to switch him out and get all his health back, and my Charizard here should be a very safe switch into this thing. My Aegislash can take it on as well, but I'm just going to go into my Charizard here. And I'm going to go ahead and Flare Blitz. I'm not going to change I'm not going to Mega yet in case he decides to go for the Moonblast or whatever. Because obviously this is Charizard X, so that would make him Dragon. But I'm just going to go for the Outrage because an E-Speed shouldn't kill me from this thing. And, oh my god, nah, fam. He gets a crit there on my Charizard, which really sucked. I could have taken this thing out, but I'm going to be able to take this thing out anyway. And HP Ice should definitely take this thing down, and it'll hit the rest of his team pretty well, aside from Fortress. But I actually went for the Rock Slide there, and he does have Ice Punch, so that sucks quite a bit. So I'm just gonna go into this thing and U-turn on it because I don't want to stay in. I could try and Hurricane. Yeah, I'm gonna just try and Hurricane. I probably should have U-turned, but I don't think a U-turn would have killed the Dragonite, so I just wanted to make sure. And now he's going to bring in Crobat, so my Tornadus is pretty much going to die here. I would have liked to have keep it because it's a very good special wall with AV, or a very good special tank. I shouldn't say he's a special wall, but with AV, and he has so much coverage moves like U-turn, knockoff, Hurricane, Focus Blast. I've got a pretty good moveset on my Tornadus. I like the Tornadus there. And I'm gonna EQ maybe. I should be able to get up a nice Sword Stance though. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and do that. Unfortunately, I do have the Poison and the Confuse off on me, so that's a bit of an annoyance. I think I'm just going to go for the nice stab move, Dragon Claw, and this will be a dead Crobat. Because, yeah, I have the Sword Stance, and the Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin definitely contributed to that. But I think Crobat would have gone down anyway. I'm pretty certain of that. And now he's going to bring out his Breloom. So this is pretty much a dead Garchomp. I'm fine with that. He's going to Mach Punch, so he can get some damage on him. And now my Aegislash comes in for free. And I can set up with my Aegislash for sure. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I may try and King Shield, but he's just going to Spore me and put me to sleep, which is really a bitch move. Really a bitch move. But I'm just going to stay in and try and Sword Stance, and I do stay asleep for the first turn. But this Whimsicott isn't going to do jack shit to my Aegislash as far as I know. But I'm going to bring out the Rotom anyway. Bring out the Rotom Wowsh. And he gets Leech Seed up, which I expected, but he's going to catch a nice trick here. And he can have Choice Specs. I'll take his leftovers. Thank you, sir. That was delicious. And I just want to try and Shadow Ball to get Spadef drop here. It does resist the Volt Switch and the Hydro Pump, so there's not really any sense going for that. He is going to bring out his Breloom now, and the Shadow Ball did 35, so I won't be able to take it down with another Shadow Ball, but it's fine. I'm just going to go for another Hydro Pump, and I get a crit there. Yeah, buddy. And he's not going to get any health back from the Leech Seed, but this is actually Poison Heal Breloom, so I don't think he really needs it. I'm just going to go for the Shadow Sneak, and luckily I wake up there, so this is going to be a dead Breloom. I probably would have lost had it not gone that way. So now I'm just going to stay in and hope I can live in EQ or Sword Stance. I'm just going to King Shield this turn, though, in case he wants to Meteor Mash at me. And I can get the physical attack drop, and he does, so that's very nice. Nah, fam. But I'm going to Sword Stance here. This should be a pretty free Sword Stance on this thing. And in all honesty, I can probably Sword Stance again. But I think I just want to go for a Shadow Sneak. Gauge how much that can do to this thing. And we take it out there with one. I was actually really surprised by that. Holy shit. So now another Shadow Sneak is definitely in order, unless I want to try and Swords Dance, but if he has the EQ, that's going to really suck, and for some reason you can see my opponent is a little bit inept because he went for the Toxic on the Aegislash, but we won't hold it against him. If anything, it should be held against me that I posted this match. But it's a pretty cool match. It kind of shows Aegislash at its best. There were some pretty big threats there, and he was able to take on 4 Pokemon and sweep them out. So, I don't know. I don't think Aegislash is OP at all, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, guys, let me know your opinions in the comments down below. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Subscribe to stay up to date with all my latest Pokemon videos. And check me out on Twitch. My name is Another Soviet. Peace out. Peace soup.